Thank you for calling online support. My name is Sam. How may I help you?
Hier sind Servus, hier sind da.
Hi everyone, welcome to lesson 3, tutorial 3 in the Scambaiting 101 series. And in this particular beep 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 beep. Hi everybody, welcome to tutorial 3 in the Scambaiting 101 series. Now, in this particular tutorial, I want to talk about virtual private networks. Now, there's some discussion as to whether these are necessary or not. Some people will tell you, I use them all the time. Other people will say, I don't bother with them. But the bottom line is, you can get them for free. They do work, and if they work exactly how you want them to, then they're going to add another layer of protection to you that you wouldn't normally have. So let's look at how you would normally connect to the internet. If we assume that this is your house, your condo, apartment, whatever, and you're going to have a permanent connection to your internet service provider. Now that connection could be made up of fibers that come into your house or cables. It could be wireless. There's all sorts of ways that it could be established, but it is a permanent connection between you and your internet provider. Your internet provider does several things. One of the main things it does is provide a gateway into the internet for you. But the other thing it does is to provide you with a unique IP address. Now that is so unique that this will be the only one of that address in the whole universe. No one else will have that. Consequently, it's traceable to you, and there are ways of finding out where people are using their IP address, and we'll talk about those a little bit in just a minute. So your internet provider gives you a gateway into the internet, and from there you can connect to different places. So let's say you've done your searching and you found an internet tech support scammer, and they're located in India and they've got that IP address. When you establish a connection, the connection goes between the baddie, it actually goes through the internet to your service provider and then back out to you. Now that means that that baddie has your internet access, your internet address, your IP address, and using the right software they would be able to find out what your IP address is, and then subsequently they'd be able to find out where you are. It's not an inconsiderable effort, so they have to work at it, and consequently they're not really going to bother that much. Your average technician grade guy sitting on the help desk in these companies is not going to be the sort of person who wants to find out where you are. It's likely to be someone higher up in the company that you've really annoyed by persistent calling, and they want to do something to make you sorry that you've been calling them so much. So there are ways of protecting ourselves against letting our address be known, and this is where the virtual private network comes in. We've got our standard connection here, but if we now change it a little bit, we have our standard connection into our service provider, and that gives us our details, our IP address, and our IP address is linked to our location and so on. But between the service provider and the internet, we connect to a virtual private network server, and we tell that server where we want to appear to be. So I can set it, for example, to be in Singapore, and it will provide me with a new IP address like that. That will also be unique, but it's unique to the VPN server, not to you. So now when we want to connect to our baddie, we hop through two different places now. We hop from our place to the internet service provider, from then to the virtual private network server, and from there to the baddie. So if the baddie uses any tracking software, he's going to find this address of the virtual private network, not our own address. So I'm hoping you can see the benefit that this has, that they're not going to be able to find out anything about you without some really sophisticated systems, which they're really not going to have. I'd just like to say that in the event of you doing something that could be considered terroristic or threatening in the vast extreme, the courts would be able to get a warrant for the companies to release your details. Consequently, if you do really bad things, you will get found out. But if you just use it sensibly, pretty much certain you're not going to get found. It sounds perfect, but unfortunately it isn't quite perfect, and I'll do some demonstrations to show you why. But you can work around the problems. So if we go back to our original internet connection, this tells us where we are, and if I want to find out where we are on the map, I can click on Google Maps, and I can click on the Find Me button, show my location, and there we are, Hungary. I'm near Budapest. That's not too far away. It's probably, I don't know, what's the scale on this? That's 20 kilometers. Yeah, so it's easily 40 or 50 kilometers away from where I live. But it's an idea, you know, it's a start. And using other techniques, we can narrow that down more and more and more. So using my IP address, Google Maps has found out where I am. So if we have a look on another website, so first of all we need to find out what my IP address is, and if you just Google what's my IP, you'll get inundated with lots of them. And if we just click on one of these, there we go, and it's got my IP address of that, which fits in fairly well with the truth. Okay, so using that IP address, I can paste it in here and click on Go, and it'll tell me lots and lots of information. Okay, so this is how we find out where people are. We want to avoid that clearly. Clearly we need to avoid that. It's dangerous and very much worrying. So how do we do it? Well, we go back to this system that I just talked about, a virtual private network, because that will hide our actual address and location and make it appear to be somewhere else. I'm going to show you that working just now. So using a free VPN system, which I'll go through in a little while, we can see that actually I'm now connected to Singapore. So my VPN server is Singapore, and it's telling me that that's my IP address, 103.254.155.147. So if we go back to the web page that we used to find my IP address, there we are, 103.254.155.147, and it tells me that we're in Singapore. And that's really important, because we've now hidden ourselves behind our virtual private network. we're here. This address is obviously wrong. I just put that in as an example. But we're now apparently not here or here, but we're here in Singapore. So for the benefit of the world, that's where we are. So if we now put that IP address into whois, it's struggling a little bit. Asia Pacific, it tells us that we are Keong Salk Road, Singapore, and that's pretty scary. Okay, that has found where we are, and I can put that in the map now. So let's go on to the map. Remember, we're at a home location in Hungary. Now let's click on where we think we are, and whoosh, Singapore. So Google now thinks that we're in Singapore. In fact, pretty much the whole world thinks we're in Singapore. Lovely place. We'll work there for about a year or two. Anything we do now on the internet is going to make it look like we're in Singapore. So when we connect to our lovely scammer, he thinks that if he does a check to find our IP address, he's going to think that we're located in Singapore. And he won't have a clue. He really won't understand that we're not, because these virtual private networks are really quite clever. So how do we go about setting one up? Well, actually, do you know, it's really easy. I'm going to show you just one. There are several, but they're all fairly similar. They're not complicated in any way to set up, and I'll show you how to use it. So let me get set up for doing that. Be back in a moment. The other day I did a search and did a lot of working out where the best free VPN was, and this is the one I've come up with. They're a bit sneaky because they tend to lead you down the path of using their paid service, and I've got nothing against their paid service. It's really good value, but they do a free service, so it's worth understanding that. So the first step is to sign up, and here's our free forever system. You can go for a plus system, which has $4.99 a month. It has 30 plus locations. The most popular, which is the premium one, also has 30 plus locations, and multiple simultaneous connections and so on. The free one, 3 locations: Canada, Netherlands and Singapore. Good enough. Best effort bandwidth, that means it's going to be about 3 megabits per second, but it might drop. You're allowed 2 gigabytes a month of data transfer, and it'll only support basic protocols, but that's fine, and you can only be connected one time. To be honest, that's all you need for the sort of thing that we're doing. So if you just click on register, and you've got to put in an email address. Now, I did actually register for this the other day, but I'm going to register again using a different email address. This David Gorman email address, by the way, is defaulted to delete every mail that comes in. I've just unset that just now because I know this is going to send me an email to confirm my address. And there we go. So I'll just get that email up back in a moment. Okay, so I've got the email. I actually used a different email address because I'd already registered the first one. This is my second dead letterbox, just to let you know. david.robinson.superstar@gmail.com. Go straight to trash, never read a single one. So I've actually read this one. I switched off the dump to trash. So now I can click on activate my account, and here we come with some information. So it wants a bit of info. So I can't use Nightmare on Scam Street because I just used that. I'm going to use Nightmare Scam and then a password. And then I can click on create account. So the options are to install their client on our computer, which is the best option. So we download it. For Windows, I've already downloaded that and run it, but we'll go through the setup anyway. That's it, finished downloading. Opening up. Click OK. Right, now this is awkward because I've already set it up, but basically you just go through this setup process. Once you've set it up, and you may have to give it a little more information, I'm not 100% sure about that. So when you open up the client, this is what you'll see. It's quite straightforward. In fact, it's very easy, it couldn't be simpler. Here's where it tells you your IP address, and I've had to hide that because it's very cleverly figured out my real IP address. Here it tells you how much data you've got left. Remember at the start we said you've got 2 gigabytes of data. We've got the option of upgrading to a premium account. I don't need to. And we can choose where we want to be connected to within reason. So here we've got 2 gigabytes of our data left. And we can connect to any one of the 3 countries that we said that we would accept as part of the free system. Remember, the free system only gives us access to 3 different countries: Netherlands, Canada, Singapore. So let's try connecting to Netherlands, and all we need to do to connect to Netherlands is click on connect. It's that simple. And it says we're connected. Now if I move the mask out of the way, you'll see that we have a Netherlands flag and an IP address. Now that Netherlands flag IP address, that IP address is what the world will see us as. So if we go back into our slideshow, just a second. So instead of the world seeing us as our home IP address, it now magically sees us as if we were in the Netherlands. And that's pretty unbreakable. It's hard to get through a VPN. If you've got special software you can do it, but it's quite a specialized job, sort of hacker territory. And if you are being attacked by hackers, then there's not much you can do if they're really good. So we have our VPN server up and running. So let's see what the map looks like if we go to Google Maps. So Google Maps instantly brings us somewhere around Amsterdam if we click on find our location and allow it. It says it could not be determined. But that's okay. We know it's in Amsterdam. That's the generalized area. Probably around... Sorry, we know it's in the Netherlands, but probably near Amsterdam. Is that what came in the center of the screen? If we look up the IP address itself, so use a similar to what we used before, and that's come up with the correct IP address that it thinks we're in. It's also come up with Netherlands, which is the country, so that's pretty successful. This is the world looking in at us through our virtual private network server. And if we pop that IP address into one of the IP lookup tools, click on Go, it's going to tell us that we're in the Netherlands, and it's really having a bit of trouble working out exactly where we are. The main address is Amsterdam. These numbers are for the data center. But the bottom line is that our own IP address is not there. It's absolutely invisible. And that's the whole point of a virtual private network. Now, at the moment we appear to be in Amsterdam. So let's try one of the internet phone systems that we tried yesterday and see how that works out. I just wanted to add a little comment in here. You don't need to use a virtual private network if you're just making phone calls. I really want to be very clear about that. The virtual private network is to protect your system against people who are connected to one of your computers. Now, if you have a virtual computer, a VM, and you're allowing a scammer to connect to it, you don't really want him to know your real IP address. It doesn't matter if you're phoning him, because he's never going to know your IP address from a phone call. The reason I'm testing the virtual private network with the phone systems is that you're really going to be using both of them at the same time. Chances are you're going to be using a virtual machine and also speaking to the scammer as well. So you want both the systems to work in conjunction with each other. So we'll start with FireRTC. As you know, I have an account with them, so I'll just click on sign in rather than going through that. And there's my sign in page. So far no problems. Initializing, and it seems to have worked. So let's look at some recent numbers. Let's see if we can dial one. Let's call that one, shall we?
Thank you for calling support. All our service representatives are busy assisting other customers.
Well, I think it's reasonable to say that that worked. Just try one more number from the past.
Weebly, the easiest way to build a great website and start your own something.
There you go. That was a real number, by the way. That was Weebly, the web design company. But it's working great. So let's look at one of the other ones that we might have had a bit of trouble with. Back in a second. So this is PopTox. Now, you might remember that when I did the other video, if you've watched that one, I had trouble with my VPN working this, and it really was a bit of a pain. So I'm going to try dialing a number, and we'll see how we go. Here we go. Here's a problem. Please use our partner product's reveal name to make calls from the Netherlands. Click here to redirect to real name. We'll try that. We saw this one the other day, So if we go to call, and we're going to go the same number, and go to call, so it doesn't work. And we had this problem yesterday, unfortunately, with my my VPN and it not working with this system. We know that there are lots of these phones. I suspect the answer will be the same as it was when I did the internet phone tutorial, that a lot of the phone systems we try and use are going to fail because they are not compatible with a VPN. Now, got to remember, FireRTC worked, and I've always advocated use FireRTC. So just hang on, I'll find another one. I can't remember whether this one works. This is one that they call Globe or Globe phone. I suspect it's Globe with that accent. Whoops, too far. So let's pop in United States, and we'll do the same number. And we'll try calling that. Initializing. Allow it to use the microphone. This is very good.
Your call did not go through. Please try your call again.
Okay, that's really good. The reason it's really good is that the phone system yesterday didn't work properly, and we tried and tried, but it didn't go because of my VPN. We're still running a VPN, we still appear to be in Amsterdam, but now when we try and phone a number, it goes through the system. If you recall, in the other tutorial I said that a lot of phone systems, or some of the phone systems, actually use FireRTC to make their calls. They have a pass-through system, like a robot, a bot, which connects the call via FireRTC, and that's what this one appears to be doing. We'll try one more. Just stand by. So the next one we're going to try is Skype. It would be unfair not to try it. Skype works very well normally. We haven't tried it through a VPN, so let's give this a try. I'm going to find a good number to call. There we go. That's a good number to call. They like phone calls, trust me. They like getting called at any time, day or night. They're a nice company to deal with.
Thank you for calling Swift Speak. This is Jason. How can I help you?
Yeah, could you tell me what the time is there, please?
Sorry?
Could you tell me the time, please?
Right now it's 8:40 p.m. in the evening.
8:40 p.m. Okay, that's brilliant. Thanks a lot. Bye. Yeah, so Skype obviously works. SysTweak are one of my favourite companies. I have hammered them, to be honest. I've not been very nice to them. Please use that number. Call them as much as you like. So I think that's about it for this tutorial. We've gone through setting up a virtual private network. I've explained why we would use them. I've shown how they work, and I've demonstrated one in use. There are drawbacks, as with all systems, but if you use the main phone systems, for example FireRTC or Skype, they'll work. I advocate FireRTC or Skype anyway, purely because there's no limit on the number of minutes that you can have a call for. Remember, some of these other ones had like a 12-minute limit on the call. So that's the virtual private network. A lot of controversy whether it's needed or not. Personally, I believe that if it's there, it's free, and if it works, why not use it? If it starts causing problems, don't use it, but most of them are going to keep working and keep working and keep working. And by the way, if you are connected to a VPN and you're having trouble connecting to a website or connecting to a phone server or something, then just turn the VPN off. Just click on disconnect. It's a simple enough thing to do. Only takes a few seconds. I'll just show you that in action. So we are connected via the Netherlands. There's our button. Click on this side. Disconnecting. And I'm going to hide it because it's going to show my real IP address. So, virtual private networks. There are free virtual private networks available, and there are paid ones. Now, I use this one called HMA, which stands for Hide My Ass, and this one I pay about 60 euros a year, I should imagine. Using this, I can actually go to any country within reason I like, and there's a huge list of countries. So let's say I wanted to be in South Africa. I can connect. It disconnects the current one, connects to South Africa, Johannesburg. It's connecting, and it's connected. That's how secure this one is. It's got various modes. The beauty of this is that there's no limit on the bandwidth, like the free one. Remember that the free one that we tried had a 2 GB limit. There's no limit on the connection time, and there's a massive choice of countries. So if you wanted to do some work inside a country, it would work quite well for you. So I hope that's an interesting little summary for you. VPNs, I believe, are worth having. Some people don't think that, but that's fine. Some people think they just get in the way, but my experience of them is that they're pretty much transparent, and they give you another layer of protection. Remember, the more layers you have, the less likely you are to be found, which is how Tor browser works, by having lots of layers of protection. So, I hope that was useful to you. The next project we're going to talk about is setting up a SIP phone. Now, I've held up with that one because I have been asked by one of the viewers to help them set up a system to make calls in their own country, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And we're going to set up a SIP phone system which will give them access to a telephone number within their country, which will be completely anonymous. SIP phone systems are good. They bypass all the troubles with FireRTC and Skype and stuff like that. But you only get one number or two numbers, and you have to pay for them. But we'll go through that in a little bit. So in the meantime, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.